Good morning, all. This is Jack from Chartered Markets, and this is the slightly late pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, 29th of July. Yeah, sorry, I was having some mic problems, had to reboot, make a couple of changes. So anyway, let's have a look at the markets. Okay, first thing to mention today is that we've got bearish leaning stats today, quite strongly leaning bearish leaning stats today, bullish leaning stats tomorrow, and then fairly neutral for the last day. But the first day of the month, which is often a very bullish one, is not bullish this month. So we've got a bearish leading day on Friday. So we've got one bullish remaining day this week, and that is Wednesday. Today leans significantly bearish, so does Friday. All right, let's have a look at the ES chart. Now, ES, I was thinking we could set up some nice looking sell signals up here, but that's not what we did. We failed this sell signal, then we went and made the sell signal target anyway. I had been commenting on the daily, of course, which is relevant, that you quite often see sell signals fail and then it play out. You see the short-term high, and that's kind of what we've seen here on the hourly chart. Although obviously, it's not. It's only really just almost got us back to the weekly pivot on the bigger picture. NG is continuing to go higher here. RTY. This still looks like a nested double top forming. We really haven't seen any significant upside in days. YM looks like a nested double top forming as well. DAX and STX, this looks like a bullish consolidation that should resolve into a retest of this high. The EU-US deal was done. It wasn't too awful. The US won the right to tax their citizens for 15% of anything they're importing from the EU. So, I mean, from the EU's point of view, that probably looks more or less okay, and they got more or less what Japan got. But I'm expecting to see retest the high on both. I'm slightly surprised we haven't seen those yet, but I think this looks like we might be starting the move to do that at the moment. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, now, looking at the daily chart, obviously we lost the RSI 5 sell signal, we lost the RSI 14 sell signal. We haven't reached the obvious trendline resistance that we could be reaching. And hang on, I've got one more option here. I need to mark in, so I'm just going to do that here, because what I'm looking for is possible alternative trend lines, as well as the main current trend line, which we could reach. Yeah, that's really not one of them. So that's not going to be one either. Really, the best one is the one we've got already. So we haven't reached that yet, although we are pretty close. So if we would reach that, and this is the point at which I redraw the wedge to show it as unbroken, we would get up to this trend line here, and we haven't reached that yet. What we do have is, if we didn't already have an RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the hourly chart, we'd have one fixing now, and we actually had an RSI 5 sell signal fixed yesterday, and that made target. Looking at the 15-minute, not a lot more to see there too. Qs, we've still got, well, no, we've lost the RSI 14 sell signal. The new RSI 14 sell signal was brewing. We've still got an RSI 5 sell signal. This is a hard one to actually fail, although not as hard as the one on SPX, which has already failed. So we've still got this. We've still got all the negative divergence, really, or all the important stuff, apart from the SPX stuff, which we have lost and could, of course, set up again. But we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed on Dire, and unless we go significantly higher, we're not going to fail that one. On Dow, we haven't quite reached the retest of the all-time high, which I am expecting to happen. We've got a possible weekly RSI 5 sell signal brewing as well. We're still looking as though we are topping on both Dire and IWM, less so on Qs and SPX. Looking at the IWM chart, looking at the daily chart, still got a weekly RSI 14 sell signal fix, still got an RSI 5 sell signal fix, and that's not surprising because we haven't really gone significantly higher. We've got a nice looking double top here at the moment, and that could play out, but we're waiting really for a turn. It could be that we're going to get one at the end of the month. I'm watching that bearish day on Friday, and we don't have any really significantly bullish days for most of August. So going to be watching that with interest. But the thing to remember is on SPX and on the keys, we are having this sort of slow grind higher. These things can last a while. It's a trending move. Trending moves finish when they finish. But what is encouraging is, of course, we're not seeing that kind of trending move on the Dow, and we're not seeing that on IWM. Both of those look as though they are topping here. All right, looking at DAX, still expecting to see a retest of the high. We've seen a bit of a bounce here. We actually saw a break below the daily middle band yesterday, but we're back above it now. Nikkei, still leaning towards seeing a retest of this high here at 42.4K. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. DX, we had a very nice looking double top breakdown here with a targeted retest low, and that's failed. We've rejected back up to the high. We do have a 60-minute sell signal fixed that hasn't delivered anything so far. Is this the second high of a larger double top? No, it's too big. So I'm leaning towards this going at least a bit higher, possibly to this head and shoulder neckline, which chest neckline I've got in the 99 area, which we have almost reached already. ZV, I'm still wondering whether this head and shoulders is going to fail. The one on ZN has already failed. But this has just been kicking around without any real sense of direction recently. ZN has pretty much been kicking around as well. We failed the head and shoulders, but that was the high short term, and we retraced more than half of the way back to the low. I'm keeping an open mind, but obviously this was looking a lot more bearish for bonds when we had basically four patterns on ZB, ZN, TNX, and TLT, which were all pointing in the same direction. Two of those failed, so I'm keeping an open mind. All right, looking at CL. CL, we've got a weak 6-minute sell signal fix. Last two of those made target. So leaning towards seeing some downside. We are seeing slight breaks below this rising support trend line, so we will see how that goes. On HO, we saw a break below this rising megaphone, but of course, if we're forming a topping pattern here, we could go back and retest this high. Short term, though, this looks like a bear flag or a triangle forming. RBOB, possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. We've got a little level bottom here, which is actually broken up with a target in about the 2.16 area. That may make that target and might retest this high. That wouldn't be the second high of a double top. If seen, though, it would be too large. NG, I was leaning towards seeing a retest of this low, and we have seen the retest of the low. This is a potential little level bottom. We've really not been seeing a lot of action looking higher here, so I'm thinking this might just be a modest rally and continue downwards, which I think is the obvious direction. GC, we've got a potential little double bottom here, and I'm watching the resistance in the monthly pivot area. This is a level I always love to see a double bottom or head and shoulder resistance at, and so waiting to see if that delivers. If that does deliver, that would have a target which would be up in about the 33.85 area. So we will see how that goes. We have got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. SI, nice looking overall double top, 60-minute buy signal fixed here as well. Not really done much so far. Palladium. Palladium and platinum, I am watching the daily sell signals here. No real sign of a topping pattern here on palladium. Could have a head and shoulders forming potentially on platinum. HG, we have a very nice looking double top here, and this was HG coming down and testing double top support. It hasn't broken down yet, but I am thinking it might well break down. And the closer we get to toward the 1st of August and the imposition of the 50% tariff, the more likely it is to break down, as I think this was more about stockpiling copper. This was when the tariff went on. And in a couple of days, we will reach the time when the tariff gets implemented. In the meantime, this is increased demand from people stockpiling in front of the tariffs. All right, looking at the currency, it's a bit of a mixed bag here. The Euro USD IHS broke up and failed as well. We've gone back to a lower low. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, not really delivered anything so far. GBP USD, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed as well. USD JPY, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. USD CAD, we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. So there's a lot here suggesting that dollar will go down and other things might go up, because of course USD CAD and USD JPY are positively correlated with the dollar. But gotta say, nice bearish triangle here so far is breaking up, so that weakens this pattern significantly. Australian dollar, 60-minute buy signal fixed. NZ, these aren't actually part of the index, but obviously buy signals here Yeah, buy signals here fit with sell signals on the dollar, of course. So really, we've pretty much got across the board signals on all of these currency pairs suggesting the US dollar is going to go down. So I'm thinking the US dollar may well at least retrace a bit now. Okay, KC, I'm wondering about a possible larger flag forming here. This could be a triangle, but I'm not finding any good triangle resistance trend line at the moment. On SB, still wondering whether this is an IHS. CC, this actually isn't a bad IHS, which is broken up. Now, the target's up in about the 9900 area, and we could see it make that, although, of course, it could fail back into the lows. We shall see. CT, nice looking triangle here, and this one is bearish and is breaking down so far in the obvious direction, which is down. Obvious target would be a retest of this low here at 66.25. Lumber, possible nested double top forming here. Wheat, lean, general, no real clear pattern setup here, but I am thinking we may well go down to do a bigger picture retest, and we are at the moment heading down. I've just been marking leaning short on this, and so far it's delivering. Corn, we've got a pattern which has got a target in the 409 area, and at the moment we're looking as though we'll reach that. On soy, we've got a head and shoulders which is broken down with a target at a retest of this low in about the 998 area, and again, not seeing anything really suggesting that isn't going to make target. Soybean oil, this could go back and retest the high, but the next obvious target within the megaphone would be this megaphone support currently in about the 54.2 area. Looking at live cattle, trending up at the moment, nothing really suggesting this is about to turn. Lean hogs has tested megaphone resistance and waiting to see if it's going to break up. All right, great. In that case, I think it's a wrap. And as I'm behind webinars, I better get straight on to the next one. So remember, today is a bearish leaning day. Tomorrow is a bullish leaning day. And Friday, even though it's the first of the month, also leans significantly bearish. So we shall see. All right, brilliant. Catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.